for joining me. So usually I talk about financial independence, some investing stuff, and then frugal living. So this is definitely more the frugal living side of that. We're going to talk about a few different meals that you can make around $1 a serving. Some of them a little more, some of them a little less. And they should all be really easy to make and really healthy. All right, let's not waste any time here. The first thing we're gonna do is a chicken enchilada bake. This is gonna weigh in around $5. We're gonna have all this stuff here. Also a bag of beans that I just soaked overnight. All right, our first step here is going to be to go ahead and preheat the oven to 375. Next thing we wanna do is cut these up so that we can saute them. So we have our cilantro, some garlic, some peppers, and our onion all cut up. Whip them in a frying pan for about 8 minutes along with the chicken until it is fully cooked. Can't forget about our spices. I add a lot of spices to everything, and as you can see, I like to put a ton of spices on. Next, we add in our corn and our can of tomatoes. Give it a good stir. Then start pulling apart our chicken. So we've got that simmering, we've got the beans done, we've got this all shredded up. Next thing we're gonna do is take a 9x13 pan, we're gonna spray it down and then put some tortillas in it right here. Kind of make it layered like a lasagna. Now we pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes. Next we're gonna take some of the cheese and we're gonna pop this on there. Then we cover it with tin foil and put it back in the oven for another 20 minutes. Be careful, the glass is hot. And there we go. We got it. So that is pretty much it. Again, really easy, really cheap, and apparently I have sock puppets on. There we go, really easy, really cheap. Hope you guys enjoyed that. On to the next one. This one is like the most simple thing you can ever do. What we're gonna do is take 1 jar of salsa and 1 thing of chicken and maybe a few vegetables, and we're gonna whip it in a crock pot and then just kind of let that cook together. And then we can serve that over rice or beans, or we can have it with some tortillas, whatever you wanna do with that. This is probably the easiest thing that you can do. Makes a really good meal and tastes really good. You can also do this if you don't want to have the Mexican style. You can do it with barbecue sauce. You can do a lot of different things. All right, so for this one, we're just gonna take the chicken here, take it out of its wrap thingy, whip it in. That was easy. Next thing we're gonna do, take the jar of salsa, take the jar of salsa, pour that in there. Come out. Dang it. Now obviously you can make this as big as you want. You could do twice this amount of chicken, but we're trying to go a little cheaper on the chicken, so we might add some vegetables in instead. So we're gonna add some peppers and onion and some garlic in there as well. You definitely don't need to add these things, but I'm trying to have more vegetables in my life. So I'm gonna add these in a little bit and also kind of stretch it out a little bit with some really cheap stuff. So we'll just whip that in there, leave it on high, let it kind of simmer down a little bit, and that's pretty much it. You can also add in some jalapeno peppers if you want that spice, or some other spices, whatever your taste happens to be. All right, so that's all set in there. So we're gonna leave that on high for about 20 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna leave it on low for about 5 hours. That's kind of more like a make it in the morning, eat at night type deal. And then whenever you're done, I'm probably not gonna do it for this video, but you can just put some rice, some beans, or have it, like I said, with tortillas. Pretty much however you wanna have this. It's really, really easy. Just whip a few things in a crock pot and call it a day. So pea soup may not sound the best, but it is the best, especially in the cold, in the winter. It is a delicious meal, it is hearty, it is cheap as most of the meals that we're gonna make today, and it is really, really delicious. All right, so here's what we're using. We're using 2 bags of beans, 99 cents each. We're using ham, $3. We're not gonna use all of it because we're gonna save some for a different recipe, so it's really around $2. We're gonna use 79-cent carrots, although we're probably gonna use like 25 cents worth. And we're also gonna use half of 1 red onion. So first things first, we need to rinse the beans. So you wanna rinse off your peas, and then you wanna add half a gallon of water per bag of peas. So I decided to go with 1 bag, so that's 1/2 gallon. Then you're gonna wanna bring it up to a boil, let it boil for about 5 minutes, and then let it sit for an hour. Then you're chopping up your carrots and your onion to whatever size you want. I prefer to have a little bit bigger one so that I can have more texture in the soup. Guys, it would really mean a lot to me if you would hit the like button. Sorry, it makes me really emotional. Has nothing to do with all these onions. Holy crap, I can't see anything. Hello? These are really real tears. Holy crap. Now we add in our carrots, our onions, and our cubed ham, and then we add some spices. For the spices, I kept it pretty simple. I just went with garlic powder, smoked paprika because I love it and it is awesome in anything, and then just regular black pepper. Give it a good mix, bring it up to a boil, and then put it on simmer for another hour. There you have it. Very easy, very, very cheap meal. It does take a while to cook, so you're gonna have to be home for that, but overall, it's a really, really easy process. Very minimal prep required, so it's a good, good lazy man's meal. Now we have Tex-Mex in a skillet. This one is, again, very easy to make, very cheap ingredients. You can make it cheaper if you want to by simply just adding more potatoes and more vegetables, like we did with the last one. This one is right up there with the chicken enchilada, maybe even better. Awesome thing. Just try it out. Like, seriously, you will not regret doing this. No, seriously, you won't regret doing this. This is like one of the best things that you will ever put inside your mouth. I might be overselling this, but it's insanely good. I gotta edit. Anyways, the first thing we're gonna do is turn our oven on to 350. Maybe we're gonna cut up all the potatoes and the sweet potato if you wanna add a sweet potato. I just personally like the flavor of that. And then we're gonna cut those up and put them in the oven for about 15 minutes to kind of brown up a little bit. Yeah. And then while that's going on, we're gonna cook up the meat as well. All right, so we have those in the oven now. We're gonna put this pan on medium heat with some oil, and then we're gonna cut up our onion here, and then once that is done, we're gonna put it in there with the meat and some jalapenos if you wanna do that. We don't like spicy stuff, so we're not gonna do that, but we might put in some spices with it. Let it all cook together, and then by the time that's done, the potatoes should be done as well. Alright guys, so I'm a firm believer that when you're doing spices in a recipe, you should do as many as you can. So you kind of want to just go with one flavor profile, like Italian, or maybe you want to go Mexican, whatever it is, and just use a lot of that spice. So I use smoked paprika in almost everything that I cook that has this type of flavor profile because it tastes really good. It's like really smoky, it's good. And then in this one, I'm also kind of going more the Italian instead of going Mexican. So I added some Italian seasonings, I added some garlic, I added some onion powder, and a few other things like that, some salt, some pepper. And then if I wanted to go more of the Mexican route, I would have added some cumin, had some jalapenos in there or something like that, added some chili powder. So either way you want to go with this, it's going to be a really, really good meal. Alright, so now for the fun part, we're going to take about 3 eggs. You can either whisk these or not. I just choose to not do it and just whip them in. You just go ahead and pop those in there for about 3-4 minutes until they're fully cooked. And then you can take the lid off, stir it around a little bit, put some cheese on there, and then let that go for another minute with the lid on until that's really cooked. And then you guys are going to see, it's amazing. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and put some cheese on it. You can use whatever type of cheese you want to. I choose to use like a cheddar cheese because I just like the flavor of that more. But if you want Mexican with this, you could just put on some Mexican cheese. So we'll do that. So now we're just going to cover this for another minute or two to let it all melt out a little bit, and then we'll call it a day. there we go. Cheap, easy, and healthy. If you guys enjoyed this, please consider subscribing if you want to see more content like this. And if you enjoyed it, smash the like button. That would mean a lot to me. Really helps out the videos, actually. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. I'm going to eat this now.